So you see I've got some special people in front here, and I want to introduce them before they kick off our day 2 today in a very special way. Standing in front of you today is the UJ Library Choir, and of course, absolutely. So that was very flat. And I feel like this choir is going to walk out because they don't feel like we've welcomed them into the room. So let's make some noise. So before the choir starts, I think it's important just to give a little bit of context around who they are, how this choir came to be. So the choir started when a colleague, Mrs. A. van Niekerk, passed away in 2018. And, you know, these wonderful people in front of us had to come together to sing at her memorial service. And, of course, they've also performed for the international conference that we held in 2019. All the members in front of you are staff members, so I'm sure some of you may know or recognize these faces. These are familiar faces. The choir is made up of about 21 active members, and they tell me that they make time to practice. They say they get together at least twice a week where they practice. And so you're dealing with people who really have put in some effort here, who want to share something very special with us. So let's give them a round of applause one more time, and I hand over to you.
Honor.
do, do, do. Dee, 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 dee. Hey, hey! Do, 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 do. One more time for the UJ Library Choir. So that last song they were singing mentioned the word skorokoro. Anybody know what a skorokoro is? What's a skorokoro? I'm talking to those who are in the audience today because I think we have skorokoros in this room and I'll tell you why. What's a skorokoro, Arida? A skorokoro goes like this. A skorokoro can't move. And as I was watching what was happening here, there was music, there was dance. And some of you were behaving like that skorokoro. Like we still need to wake you up a little bit. Really bring you into this room and into the spirit of what we're doing, today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zoya Mabuto-Mokoditoa. It's a mouthful. People are going, it's okay. You can just call me Zoya. And when we get very comfortable by the end of the day, you can refer to me as Z. I won't take it personal. I'm going to be your program director for today. I'm your MC. I really am going to ensure that we have a smooth running program. I'm going to ensure that, and I've been told that academics tend to be a little bit on the serious side. And in fact, when I was given the brief, they said, we want you in full color because we want you to bring a little bit of color to this event. We want you to bring a little bit of fun. And I've been told interesting things about academics. And so part of my role will also to be, to ensure that even though we're talking about very serious things, issues, we're talking about, sustainable futures and creating sustainable futures, we also make it lighthearted in some parts. That if you want to stand up and sing, because in your heart you feel like something is moving you, and you don't sit in your chair and behave like a skorokoro, that you're able to get up and really enjoy yourself. So I said I'm going to use a greeting that I think most of us will know. And the greeting is a South African greeting, and yet I am mindful that we are joined by people all over the globe. And so this morning I want to simply say to all of you, Sanibonani. Yebo, Sanibonani. I said English here would have some limitations, and I'll tell you why. So if I was greeting in English, and I was speaking to an audience here in South Africa, in other parts of Africa and Europe, I could easily say, good morning. But that would exclude audiences sitting all the way in Asia. That would exclude our audiences sitting all the way in Americas, because in Asia, I'd have to say good afternoon. And to those who are sitting in other parts of the world, I might have to say good night. And so I want to just acknowledge every single person who has joined us this morning, both in person and online, with a simple Sanibonani, I see you, a friendly South African greeting from myself to all of you. So I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'll come back to why we've gathered today and just unpack a little bit around, why we are here. But for the most part, many of you would have joined us for day one of yesterday's conference. And maybe just by a show of hands, who was here yesterday? Okay, so most of us were here for day one. Wonderful. We're happy to see you back again. I am aware that we have quite a number of us who joined us yesterday, but who have opted for joining us online today. And this is the convenience of being able to leverage this technology that we have, where we can have this setting open to us here present in the room, but also to a wider audience who are joining us online. So in terms of our housekeeping, maybe let's start there. Bathrooms can be found on both level 5 and 6. Many of you are familiar with this space, and in fact, I should have gone to check where level 5 and 6 is. and I didn't do that, but our bathrooms can be found on both level 5 and 6. If you get lost on your way to the bathroom, please look out for staff who are wearing name tags written host. So for any issues that you have, any questions, if you need anything at any point, there are some staff members in and around this venue who are wearing name tags written host, and they should be able to assist you and me to find the bathroom. So level 5 and 6 for our bathrooms. If you are using a laptop in the venue, and I do note that there are several of us using our laptops, please do ensure that your audio is off. Please, if you do have your laptops in the room, colleagues, make sure that your audio is off. And in particular, we have got a Zoom a session that's also running alongside this. Please, we're saying don't log into that whilst you are inside this venue. So let's be mindful in terms of that audio if you've got your laptops in the room. And then in terms of Wi-Fi, you will note that on each table, there is like a little stand, and on that stand is a piece of paper, and all of the Wi-Fi passwords and information that you need to be able to connect online is available there. So Wi-Fi password to be found on your tables. Are we together? Hello? So I'm going to do that thing where I keep talking to people. My background is leadership development, and often when I think about leadership, I think about people. I don't see leadership as kind of titles and all of that. I really think about that human-to-human interaction and people and working with people. So every so often, you're going to see me looking at you, making eye contact, trying to see if we're all still together in this room. Are we together this side? I'm mad. Everybody's still waking up in the university. Hello, that side, are we together? Alala, hello, thank you. I'm looking to this part of the room. Are we together or are we here? Wonderful, thank you. I'll come back to this table. I'm looking to this part of the room. Are we together or are we here? Yes. One person is here. I know for sure one person is here. This side of the room, are we together or are we here? Yes. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. So let me come back to my house rules. And then, of course, we're saying that for those of you who joined us yesterday, as well as for those who weren't able to join us, and I'm addressing my online audience as well, we've also got QR codes on the tables for you. Scan those to be able to access the program for today, first and foremost, and then additional to that, if you want to see some of the photographs that were taken yesterday. So if you remember posing for a photo yesterday, you might see yourself on there. So scan the QR code to be able to access the program, as well as the photos from yesterday's event. And then most importantly, we say if it isn't on the gram, it didn't happen. If it isn't on the social media platforms, it's as good as a non-event. This did not take place. And so what we're asking there, please, we'd love for you to follow, to like, and to share on the UJ Library social media pages. And of course, the hashtag there is hashtag UJ Library. And this is across all the platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That hashtag one more time, hashtag UJ Library, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Please do share and post and like. We want to spread the news of this wonderful event, and in particular, some of the rich conversations that we're going to be engaging in today. And then at some point, we're going to take a lunch break, so just be mindful of what I'm about to share. Lunch will be served on level 5, not in the bathroom. Ne? If you were listening, bathrooms are level 5 and 6. Lunch will be served on level 5, and we will be taking that lunch break a little bit later in the day, just before 1 o'clock. And then our tea and coffee breaks will take place at the back of this venue. And I'm looking over there, and I see there's a wonderful tea and coffee station to my left. And so tea and coffee, when we take those tea and coffee breaks, colleagues, we're just asking you to stay within this room. And of course, we are quite a number in the space, and so let's be mindful around how we do that. Get your cup of coffee, rather come back to your seat so we avoid some congestion in that area. Okay, and then I do want to address my online audience, and so to those who have joined us online, I'm also greeting you. Sanbonani, thank you so much for joining us. We really are looking forward to being with you too. We will try as much as possible to not forget you. If you do feel like Zoya has forgotten you slightly, please feel free to pop a message in the chat and to say, I'm feeling a little bit left out here, Zoya. Please bring me into the conversation as well. We'd love to engage with everybody, both here in the room as well as those who are joining us online. Yebo.
I just want to say there's 105 people online, so can we please not forget about them?
105. I think let's just acknowledge them. And then to my online audience, I'm speaking strictly to my online audience, a couple of housekeeping rules for you too. We are asking to those who are online, please, engage with us on the chat. Unfortunately, we have made the decision to keep us all muted. And I think this is just to ensure that there's ease of proceedings and we're able to really make this beneficial for us all. So we're asking for any engagement. If you have any questions, concerns, you want to share your feedback, and a little bit later we'll invite you to be part of our Q&A, please use the chat function for that, and we'll be sure to keep you, part of the conversation today. And then, of course, it goes without saying, if you are joining us online, please, particularly for our panel conversation, you are to switch those cameras on. And so this is me giving you that warning. Please get yourself camera ready. I know some people want to be ready for the camera, because a little bit later for the panel conversations, the ask from ourselves is that you do switch your cameras on. Okay, and I think that's it in terms of my online audience. I will reiterate some of this a little bit later. But once more, a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much that you've made the time to join us. Thank you for honoring yourselves. It's going to be a rich day today. So colleagues, we're now going to commence with the sort of formal part of our program, and it gives me great pleasure, ladies and gents, to call up to the platform Professor Maria, and listen to this, I practiced the surname, Frahm-Arp. Professor Maria Frahm-Arp, who's the Executive Director, UJ Library, and she is going to be coming up to introduce or to welcome onto the platform Professor Sarah Gravett. Let's give her a warm round of applause. You're welcome.
Morning, everybody. It's fabulous to see you all here, and also to our online visitors who are joining us, thank you so much for being with us. So we are going to start this morning with a short welcome from our acting DVC research, Prof. Sarah Gravett. And I just want to introduce her a little bit and give you a little bit of background as to who she is. Prof. Gravett is a professor of teaching, education and development at the University of Johannesburg. And she's been Dean of the Faculty of Education for 15 years until December 2021. She took up the position of Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Internationalization for 6 months in 2017. She did such a great job that last year we asked her to be acting again for 4 months while the then DVC was away on sabbatical, and she is currently acting again in this role. So as she likes to say, she could win an Oscar for the amount of acting she's been doing. So her initial postdoctoral research included transformative learning, dialogic teaching, and the design of learning environments in higher and adult education. In recent years, her research focused mainly on teacher education as a form of higher education. She is the author and co-author of numerous books and articles and book chapters on teaching and learning, teacher education, and related themes. She supervised numerous postdoctoral students to completion. While being dean for 15 years, she still managed to become NRF rated and to become a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa, which I think is an extraordinary achievement. Yes. And she has been flying the flag high for South Africa, as she is a member of the Universitas 21 group, U21, where she is involved in teaching innovation and their steering committee that focuses on teaching innovation, and she's been part of this for the maximum time allowed. And she is currently also a distinguished visiting professor at the University of Hong Kong. So it is a great pleasure to welcome you, Prof. Gravett, to the podium.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And let me link to what our program director said and say to you all, I see you. Welcome to you all. It is indeed a pleasure for me to say a few words of welcome today. And let me tell you why. This library is very special to us at UJ. I hope you've had the opportunity to walk around, and we are very proud of this library and the work that is being done in this library at UJ. And that makes it a very special place. But on a personal level, I have a long history with libraries. I grew up on a farm, and I was one of those kids who read all the time. But you could only go once a week into town to get books. And oh dear, you were only allowed 4 books at the time. So it meant I had something to read for the first 2 days or 3 days, and then had to wait again for many days to go back to this wonderful place, the library. It's funny, I sometimes dream of that library. So it tells you the important role that the library played in my life. And also at school. I was one of those children who spent many, many hours in the library every day. When I became an academic, I also had the most wonderful time spent in this library. Many, many hours of joy and the excitement when you see a book that you think is so important for your work as an academic, and to touch that book and to take it out and to get excited about that. Now, nowadays, we find basically everything online, but I've learned in this process that there are some things that I miss. I miss coming physically to the library and touching the books. But oh, it has also opened such a wonderful world that you have information at your fingertips any time of the day. You can wake up in the middle of the night and decide you are going now to visit the library virtually, and it's there. How wonderful is that? And I've also, of course, learned how wonderful it is to have a librarian that supports you. And do we have wonderful librarians at UJ who are helping us anytime when we need them? So libraries are, for me, a very, very special place. So I wish also to congratulate the idea of talking about imagining sustainability. The future of academic libraries depends on everyone. And then how can libraries effectively craft a footprint into the future using a sustainable thinking approach? This is such an important focus for a conference. Also taking into consideration the Sustainable Development Goals, and many of academic institutions working actively towards those, attaining those Sustainable Development Goals. I had a look at the program yesterday and also at the program today, and it's really an exciting program. I said to Prof. Maria, there are some of the workshops yesterday that I actually would have loved to attend, and because I think they seemed so useful, and also some of the themes that you are engaging with today. So, it is then my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this conference. All the institutions that are represented here, physically and online, the universities, academic libraries, nationally and internationally, and also, I believe, some public libraries who are attending virtually and in person. let me say something about sustainability thinking and allow me to highlight a few aspects of sustainability thinking that I think are quite important for me as an academic and also for libraries. I will say briefly something about equity, social equity, about interconnectedness, about innovation, but also about measurement and accountability, because that is also important, and collaboration and participation. So when I think of sustainability thinking, the notion of social equity is very important to me. It's working together, and I will say something more about collaboration later, towards a fair and equitable access to resources, opportunities, and benefits for all people, regardless of their background and circumstances. And to say something again about UJ, this is one of the reasons why I really also love UJ. UJ is committed to excellent but accessible excellence. And that is what we pride ourselves on, that we want social equity. We work actively towards social equity also in this library. And it's also about fostering thriving and inclusive communities. And the library is so well situated to do that, to foster thriving and inclusive communities. Secondly, interconnectedness. And if one thinks about this type of thinking, it's also about systems thinking and recognizing that everything is interconnected and that changes in one part of the system can have a cascading positive or negative effect throughout the entire system. And of course, what we want and what we strive for as libraries is to understand that libraries can play a very important role in a positive cascading effect. And it's also about a global perspective. That is an acknowledging that sustainability challenges are not only local, they are global in nature, and it requires, also in terms of libraries, local collaboration, but also international collaboration. Thinking together about the issues and how we can together influence these issues in a positive way towards building a sustainable future. It's also about innovation, which is so important. And again, as I said, thinking about the library many years ago and where we are now, the technological and social innovation is amazing. So it's about adoption of new technologies that open new worlds, but it's also about, in the process, ensuring that there remains a social connection. And I think our library is very good at doing that. It is about supporting, as I said before, the sustainability goals that one is working towards through innovation where applicable. And then something that is so important is creative problem solving. It's finding innovative solutions to complexity matters and sustainability challenges. And again, this is something that libraries are so well situated to address. In universities, many of us don't like the notion of measurement and accountability. We say this is not what universities are about. Yes, I would be very worried if that is the main thing that universities are about, measurement and accountability. But it is also important for universities to understand the importance of measurement and accountability, and also the case in libraries. So it's about using data and metrics to assess what we are doing. And I know, again, our local library, UJ Library, is very, very good at that. I can ask at any time for Prof. Maria, give me some data about what is happening in the library, and it is available immediately. It's also about reporting on what one is doing. It's sharing the information about what we are doing with stakeholders, including the public. And that brings me then to the point that I made earlier, but that I would like to emphasize again, that ultimately it is, if one thinks about sustainability, if one thinks about the sustainability for the future, it is firstly about now, and then working towards the future. And how do we do that? Through collaboration. We can't do it on our own. And this is again why a conference like this is so important. Because we think together, we work together. But what is so important also in terms of conferences, we start with relationships, which is something that I truly believe. It's difficult to start with relationships online. It is, one needs that personal connection, but then you can maintain them online. And therefore, it is important now that we are in a position again that we can come together physically, that we also do it from time to time, and then use the technology to help us sustain the relationships that we are building. I would like to end with a quote from a book of Chris Brink that I also quoted a while ago when I was here in the library. And it's a very, very special book. The book is The Soul of a University. And I will adapt the quote that Prof. Brink uses in his book slightly. He says, "The question, which societal challenges does your university respond to should be as common, as insistent as the question, which academic disciplines do you excel at? And so," he says, "finally, the soul of the university can be characterized by the dimension of excellence on the one hand and societal purpose on the other hand." So my question to you, how do you support your university and or the communities that you serve to contribute to respond to societal challenges? And secondly, how do you support your university and or the communities that you serve towards building a sustainable future, starting now? I wish you fruitful deliberations, and thank you for inviting me today. As I said, libraries are very, very important places. Thank you.